On the 24th of June, Reform councillors at Wolverhampton City Council walked out of a council meeting after just 18 minutes. They went live on Facebook to celebrate. They left behind questions on antisemitism, potholes, and a motion on access to a local tip that they themselves had tabled. This is the Wolverhampton story, but it's also a Worcestershire story. Reform's group leader on the council, Reform influencer Cllr Ceilia Hibbert, says they walked out because a document, the leaders' report, was only made available 24 hours before the meeting due to an administrative error. That error had been corrected. The document was available to all parties and every other party was prepared to discuss it. But here's the thing, that leaders' report isn't a decision-making document. It's a summary of decisions that have already been made publicly in the council chamber, where any councillor paying attention would have seen them. And Reform proposed a vote to skip the item entirely. It was a named vote, so every councillor had to declare publicly, and Reform lost that vote. And because they lost, they left. When Reform walked out to applause from opposition councillors, they didn't just leave a meeting, they left their residents unrepresented on every remaining item of business. And that included questions they had submitted themselves on rising anti-Semitism, on why roads and pavements were riddled with potholes, on why regeneration projects were stalling. Questions their constituents deserved answers to. They also walked out on a motion they had tabled to increase access to a local tip, their own motion abandoned. But here's where it gets worse. Another motion was on the agenda, one tabled by a different party, to improve the handling and management of DBS checks, including enhanced DBS checks for all councillors. Reform walked out before that vote. Now, Reform almost certainly would have voted against it, but by walking out, they didn't have to. They avoided the vote entirely. No public declaration, no named vote on the record. They didn't have to stand up and say no to safeguarding checks. They just weren't in the room. And think about it. Their own motion on tip access, gone. Their own constituents' questions, gone. And a vote on safeguarding checks for elected members dodged entirely. This is the playbook. Perform the outrage, stage the exit, go live on social media, celebrate. Now you might be thinking, this is Wolverhampton. What does it have to do with Worcestershire? Well, three things. Firstly, Reform is the official opposition on Worcestershire County Council, just as they are in Wolverhampton. Same position, same role. So when you see Reform walk out of a council chamber after just 18 minutes in Wolverhampton, you're seeing exactly how they operate in opposition. The question for Worcestershire is this the accountability Reform promised? Is walking out and going live on Facebook what their voters thought they were getting? Second, you'll hear people say the Lib Dems did the same thing at the Worcestershire budget meeting in February 2026. They did and they didn't. The Lib Dem group stayed for the budget debate. They secured £21 million in new spending commitments for rural roads, drainage, flooding and cycle routes. They voted on all the budget amendments. And then, after all the important business was conducted, they left. There's a fundamental difference between walking out after you've done the work and walking out after 18 minutes because you lost a vote. Thirdly, and this is the one to watch, Worcestershire County Council has a full meeting coming up on the 16th of July. If Reform's behaviour in Wolverhampton is anything to go by, we may see the same performative stunts closer to home. The question is whether Reform will choose to represent their residents or choose to perform for the cameras as they have before. If you want to see if that happens at the July 16th meeting, subscribe now. I'll be watching and I'll report on any shenanigans that Reform pull. Reform celebrated a minor administrative error, one that had been corrected, like they'd won the lottery. They walked out on their own motion, on their own constituents' question, and on a safeguarding vote that they'd rather not have to publicly oppose. And then they streamed it on Facebook as if it were a victory. This isn't opposition, this isn't accountability, this is performance art. And the people who pay for it are the residents who elected them. For more on Worcestershire politics and local government accountability, be sure to check out our other videos. Thanks for watching.